Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to have a look at another collaboration beer. So this one is half Swedish on the home side and half American on the away side. The Swedish brewery have featured on the channel a good number of times before, and I would say they are one of my favourite Swedish breweries, while the American brewery is one from California over on the west coast, and they've featured on the channel once before, but I do hope we can do some more reviews from them in the fairly near future. So for this one then, for the Swedish side, we are going to head up towards Gothenburg once again, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital up on the west coast, as I always say. You know, I need to find something else to say about that, but yeah, we're going to have a look at another beer from Beerbliotek, and this one is a collaboration that they've done with three weavers who are from Inglewood in Los Angeles, California, over on the west coast in America. So the particular beer itself is called There Is Still No Cure for the Common Birthday. It's number 284. In the Beerbliotek numbering system. It was released on the 24th of June 2020 as part of the Tillfälligt assortment, the temporary assortment in Systembolaget, and it is another one of the Beerbliotek birthday beers. So yeah, an Imperial double IPA, whatever you want to call it, coming in at 8% ABV. So yeah, not sure exactly what type of IPA this one is going to be. We'll talk about that when we open it up and taste it, of course, but yeah, very curious to see how this one turns out, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this one as well. This is number 3 in the series of birthday beers that we've been doing from Beerbliotek. I'm not sure if there will be a few more released in later Tillfälligt assortments or whatever, but there have been a couple of these already. So there was the one that they did with Brewski, which was really nice, and then also the one that they did with North Brewing from England, which was more of a kind of session IPA from what I remember. So yeah, very curious to see how this one turns out, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. So as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done, both from Beerbliotek and from Three Weavers Brewing Company. You will see more added to those lists in the fairly near future, although Beerbliotek will most likely be added to before Three Weavers. We'll just need to see how it goes. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, province, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you, and another one for all the American beers. Both of those are being added to regularly, the Swedish one more so though, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Beerbliotek then, on to my brewery notes. So Beerbliotek, as I've told you before, are based in Gothenburg, Göteborg, and they were founded back in 2013 by a multinational group of friends. This is Adam Norman, who's an Aussie, Richard Bull, who's a Kiwi, New Zealand, Anders Hedlund, who is a Swede, and then Daryl Deneker, who is from South Africa. So Adam and Richard ran Bar Doppio in Gothenburg, while Daryl and Anders were regular customers at the bar, and they often just used to sit and chat away about different kinds of beer and things like that, and then one day they decided that they were going to buy a kit and actually start brewing their own, and it went pretty well for them, I have to say. So the original brewery that they have is in the old Klippan Sugar building, which is a really nice old building, actually very close to the old Carnegie Brewery in Gothenburg, quite a famous company. I say that in every review I do from Beerbliotek. I do need to actually review the old Carnegie Porter for you at some point, because it's just something I've never gotten around to. But the brew kit that they had in there is from Brewfab in Scotland, and in their first year they apparently produced 38 different varieties of beer, and all of them were originally brewed in very small batches so that they could stick to the home brewing roots of very rarely brewing the same beer. So for a long time they didn't have a fixed range, and I guess today you can still argue that they don't have a fixed range, but there are beers that seem to kind of reappear fairly regularly, and you can't blame them for that. You know, the likes of A Passion for Gingers, some of the black IPAs, the Moment of Clarity, their session IPA that was the GBG Beer Week back in, was that 2017 or 2018? I forget, I think 2017. So, you know, you can't blame them for bringing back their popular beers, but I do recommend you check out the Moment of Clarity. That's a really nice kind of sessionable light alcohol IPA. But yeah, these guys produce a lot of different beers. and that's why they have the numbering system, of course. But in May of 2015, they opened a second brewery in Kungston, which is where they currently have their main tap room, and they now run their main brewing operations. The old brewery is just used for producing sour beers, and they're also working on a barrel aging project in the new brewery as well. I've reviewed one beer from the barrel aging project, which was the Would I Lie to You, and that was a beautiful, beautiful beer, I have to say. So I do hope there are more released from that in Systembolaget over the next little while. Otherwise, I need to figure out some other way to get some of them, because I know there's a Scotch ale there and I really want to review that Scotch ale. I love trying Scotch ales from different parts of the world. But the idea behind the name Beerbliotek is that they want to brew a wide variety of different beers so that the customers can always learn something new about beer, you know, be it a new type of hop, a new yeast strain, or a new malt variety, something like this, or even a new style. Of course, they want you just to keep learning about different beers. So they say that the idea behind Beerbliotek is that it's a library of beer. You know, bibliotek, of course, in Swedish is the word for library. But as of June 2020, when I'm reviewing this beer for you, they've produced around 265 different kinds of beer according to Untappd, and you know, that number is only going to grow over the coming months. But yeah, definitely a brewery that you want to check out if you're interested in Swedish beer. Like I say, the Moment of Clarity is a very good one. The Passion for Gingers is really good. I've had some very good hazy IPAs from these guys over the last little while, and they had a nice West Coaster not too long ago as well. So I would recommend that you check out all of those beers. I'm not sure exactly what ones will be available at the moment, but every year they do release one that's called Eternal Dankness, which is a lovely old school West Coast IPA, and they've also got the Eternal Darkness as well, which is their Imperial Stout, and I think they do a new iteration of that every year as well. So as I said, there are beers that make reappearances every year, but I think they they sort of tweak, not twerk, the recipe every so often. So yeah, definitely a brewery to check out if you're interested in Swedish craft beer. And the thing that's always impressive about Beerbliotek is the quality of the beers that they put out there when you consider how prolific they actually are. As I say, this is the 284th beer that they've produced. So yeah, pretty good. As I say, most of them do make it out, but Daryl has told me that there are a few that get chucked for just not being so good. So that's probably the reason for the discrepancy between the 265 number on Untappd and the 284 on the can. There probably has been about 20 or so batches that have been thrown out for not being good, and that's a pretty decent return actually. You have to say that is a pretty decent return for all the different recipes that they've developed. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about Beerbliotek for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's leave it at that for Beerbliotek, and let's go on to Three Weavers Brewing Company. So yeah, Three Weavers Brewing Company. These guys, as I mentioned to you earlier, are based in Inglewood in California, just a little bit to the east of the LAX airport, and the company was founded back in 2013 by Lynn Weaver. So she apparently started homebrewing in her house as a hobby when she was looking after her young children, but later she wanted to go back to work, and she started to investigate how she could turn her hobby into a proper business, and she started attending conferences on the industry. So she'd studied business previously, and she'd worked as a financial planner and also as a tax consultant. So she already had a very, very good business footing, and that of course has served her well starting up the brewery. So she founded the company officially in 2013, and they had the brewery up and running in 2014, and she brought Alexandra Newell in as her on board as her brewmaster, and she apparently studied brewing science for extra credit at university because she just thought it sounded interesting. But she worked as an intern at Sierra Nevada, and then brewed for Moylan Brewery in Oakland, and then Kinetic Brewing on the edge of the Mojave Desert as well. And she met Lynn through a brewing supplies company, and they really got on, and then Lynn recruited her as her brewmaster, and as I say, they've gone from strength to strength. Over the years they've been continually expanding the capacity of the brewery, and by 2018 they were producing 12,000 BBLs per year, and I'm not sure exactly how that would translate into hectolitres. As I always complain about in the American reviews, the Americans have got a very kind of strange measurement system. As some of my subscribers like to say, it's freedom units. But yeah. But in 2018, they also joined the Canarchy Partnership, which also includes Cigar City and Oscar Blues, and they have plans to make the most of the possible 45,000 BBL capacity in their brewery. As of June 2020, when I'm producing this review for you, they've produced 125 different types of beers, and the name Three Weavers comes from the fact that Lynn has 3 daughters, and she said that she wants her daughters to see that hard work you know, can make something good out of pretty much nothing, if you like. So that's the story of Three Weavers Brewery. I wonder if the three daughters will take over the company at some point. That would be quite cool to have the Three Weavers daughters running the company, actually. If I remember rightly, Lynn Weaver, I remember the article that I originally researched for these notes. I'm sure she was Japanese descended, actually. I'm sure it said in the article that she had Japanese heritage, actually. So, yeah, a nice brewery, this one. We have been getting a few of their beers over here. I need to see what ones we have in Systembolaget. I think it's an amber ale, and I don't get to review too many of those, so I might see if I can get a hold of that. But the other beer that I reviewed from Three Weavers was this one, the Blood Junkie, which was an Imperial Red, and this was a monster. I really, really like this. I kept the can just because it was particularly satanic, and you know, well, hail Satan, as we always like to say, Satan loves us all. So yeah, I loved the artwork on that can. It was very heavy metal. As you know, I'm into my heavy metal as well. But another very, very nice brewery from over in the States, and you know, it's always cool for us to get different things from different states as well. But as we know, California is the home of craft beer in America. So yeah, hopefully I can get out there in the next couple of years. That is something that is being considered at some point down the line. But yeah, let's leave it at that for Three Weavers then. If you want to learn more about these guys, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about the 125 different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one then. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork before we open it there. There you can see the cake on this one. I do wonder if this is meant to be princess cake. In Sweden we have the cake that's coated in green. It's like basically a sponge cake with a lovely kind of green icing thing on the top of it. Usually it's got a little bit of jam in it as well. Princess cake is awesome, I have to say. I do love princess cake, it is fabulous. But yeah, this one, 8%. 8% Imperial IPA, this one. It says on the side here, getting older doesn't have to be bad. This year, for example, we got to hang out with our buddies from Los Angeles and brew a beer. Pretty good, huh? Say hi at beerbliotek.com or threeweavers.la. That's interesting, it's LA. LA has its own proxy now. So yeah, good. As I say, 8% Imperial IPA, this one. And one of the touches I always love about these Beerbliotek cans is the Swedish craft beer marker. So yeah, love that. So yeah, 330ml can, this one. Let's get it out and into the glass. As I told you earlier, this was released on the 24th of June 2020 through the Tillfälligt Sortiment in Systembolaget here in Sweden. I'll tell you something, I wonder if there's a wee bit of mosaic in this already. As soon as I open up the can, there's that lovely little bit of kind of distinctive orangey quality there. So I think there may well be a little bit of mosaic in this one. So yeah, not sure whether this is going to be a New England or more of a West Coasty. It might be somewhere in between. What does it say on the side? It says, this one contains water, malt, rye, hops, orange peel and yeast. So yeah, this one should be a little bit interesting. Maybe it isn't mosaic, maybe it's the orange peel that's giving me that. But yeah, mosaic does tend to give you a little bit of that orangey quality as well. So could be right on that as well, though. They might put a little bit of orange peel in there as well as mosaic. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, as you can see with this one, this is poured a lovely kind of, I'd say this is a medium amber. Yeah, kind of medium light yellow amberish colour, this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading up towards the bottom of the head there, and I would say that overall the head is about a third of a finger. It's definitely a frothy head rather than being bumpy. It's got a little bit of creaminess to it by the looks of it, but yeah, I would say mainly it's a kind of cream coloured head. It's not a perfect white head in my opinion. But yeah, if I stick my fingers behind the glass, you can see that this beer does have a good degree of haze to it, even if I wipe the glass, yep, because there is a little bit of condensation there. But yeah, it looks very, very nice, I have to say. Pretty much what you would expect from a modern IPA, if you like. And the level of haze on that, if I compare it to some of the other kind of Imperial IPAs that I've had, you know, this one isn't the haziest and soupiest one that you are going to come across, but it's definitely got a little bit of that to it, so that's not surprising. You will get a little bit of haze from the rye. Was there oats in this one? I forget. But oats and wheat are the things that are most likely to give you haze in these beers. But yeah, here we go. Just check it. There we are. But yeah, nice looking IPA, this one. So let's take a closer look at the aroma. Nothing overly surprising about the appearance of this one. So yeah, I have to say that smells very, very nice. yeah, the aroma of this beer, I do like how it goes together. Straight away with this one, you do get a nice kind of breadiness out of it. That'll be the rye. Some breweries, you know, I think Trillium, if I remember rightly, they like to add rye into their New Englands as well. So adding rye, I think, into these IPAs, it can be a very, very nice touch actually, and it really gives the beer a nice little bit of breadiness. I've always enjoyed the ones that have a little bit of rye in them. So straight away with this one, you can smell that lovely big kind of bready note. It's almost just got a little bit of a kind of brown bready edge to it. But the malt base in this, I have to say, is very, very nice. I do like the kind of citrusy zest that it's got, obviously from the orange peel that's in there. But yeah, you've got a lovely kind of bready base to this one. It's got, it's kind of a blend between a brown bread and a white bread, to be honest with you. But there is a good little bit of a caramelly character in there, a sort of caramelly. It's definitely a sweet caramelly brown sugar, but you've also got a wee bit of a kind of McVitie's digestive biscuity quality in there as well. If you've watched the channel before, you will know that I'm a sucker for orangey leaning IPAs, and there's just something about the aroma that's really, you know, making me kick off a little bit. I like this. The aroma of this beer is very, very nice. Just ticks the boxes for me. But yeah, as I say, a nice bit of a kind of brown bready, white bready sort of base in there. Yeah, nice bit of a white bready, brown bready kind of base in there. You definitely have a nice, yeah, you definitely have a nice sort of, yeah, the breadiness I think really makes the beer kind of smell really nice and thick actually. I like that about it, but on top of that, as I say, you get the sweet caramel, you get a little bit of a kind of biscuity, McVitie's digestive sort of thing, and there are one or two little undertones to it, but mainly bready, mainly sort of caramelly, and I do like that about it. You can smell a little bit of the grainyness from the rye as well, which is quite nice. It's got a bit of a kind of bread crusty type quality to it, and it smells a little bit boozy in fairness as well, and at 8%, and at 8%, and it seems to be maybe leaning a bit more towards the West Coasty side of things, to be honest. That's not overly surprising, but yeah, in terms of the hoppy side of the beer then, there's a wee light bit of earthiness coming out of this one. You've got a nice bit of floral aromaticity. I'd say that overall though, the green side of the beer leans a little bit more towards the grassiness. It doesn't strike me as being particularly dank and particularly spicy and floral rather than anything. It does seem to be just quite nice and relaxed in that regards, to be quite honest. So I do like that about this beer. So yeah, the flavour coming out of this one, I think the aroma coming out of here is very nice, I have to say. Yeah, I like how the aroma goes together in this one. It really just ticks a lot of boxes for me. As I've always said, beer is subjective. Different people like different things, but you know, the way everything just kind of slots together in this just is really very nice, I have to say. So thumbs up to both the breweries involved here. On the fruity side of things, as you'd expect when there's orange peel in it, it's a big, juicy kind of orangey character out of this. The oranginess, I think, kind of feeds into the booziness of the beer. You can smell the booziness in this one a little bit. I'm quite excited for it. But yeah, you've got a lovely big oily orange in this one. I do wonder if they've maybe used Mandarina Bavaria in this, because there is something almost a little bit German and noble about the kind of green grassy side of the hops. The earthiness isn't so strong, so I think I might have been wrong about there being mosaic in this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's Mandarina Bavaria. The other hops that could give you orange, you've got the likes of the Waiheke from New Zealand, you've got the Pacifica, I think, as well, can give you that. Sabro will give you kind of orange and coconut, but this one doesn't have the coconutty note, so I think Sabro's out of the question. Azaka might be another option in this, because Azaka will give you a little bit of a kind of orangey character, as well as a bit of pineapple and things too, but there is something kind of thicker and oily. It may well be Amarillo, the old classic Amarillo that's in this one, but the orange peel I think really dominates the fruity side of this one. I don't find there to be too much tropical note in this one. There's maybe a little bit of a slight passion fruit or a mango or something in there as well, and if it was that, maybe then Azaka's the candidate, because Azaka can give you a bit of that. But yeah, I have to say, the aroma of this one for me is really nice. A nice big oily orange. The orange peel I think just gives it a bit of lightness. But I think, I've got a feeling I do wonder if there is Mandarina Bavaria in here. I always like playing Guess the Hops with these IPAs anyway, because it's just a bit of fun, to be honest with you. But yeah, maybe I need to brew a kind of a batch of like single hoppers or something like that. That's maybe something that I need to look at actually for going forward. But yeah, the aroma of this one, I have to say, is top notch for me. I like it. Take a bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer, but we're going to get stuck into this one now. So as I always do with the Beerbliotek ones, I have to check the can because their names are very long. This one is called There Is Still No Cure for the Common Birthday, number 284, an 8% Imperial Double IPA, whatever you want to call it, from Beerbliotek in Gothenburg here in Sweden, and Three Weavers Brewing Company from Inglewood in Los Angeles over in California on the American West Coast. Let's get stuck in. Slàinte, skål. Yeah, that's pretty damn solid, I have to say. It is. This beer is one of these ones that's like a kind of more modern, it strikes me as one of these kind of new modern examples, the kind of new modern takes on the West Coast IPA. I think that's probably a fair way to describe this one. It's got the kind of big oiliness and fruitiness and stuff that you expect, and it's got a bit of the kind of floral and dankness and stuff like that, but it doesn't have the level of bitterness that you would normally get from a West Coast IPA. I think that's one of the things people have gotten used to. Lower IBUs because of the New England hazy IPAs, and then when you drink something like this, it has the big oiliness and more malty, kind of caramelly, biscuity sweetness to it. It just doesn't have the bitterness. It's just something, it's just something that's not right about that for me. But I will say, it is a nice beer. If you ignore the bitterness thing, it is a very nice beer. But yeah, this is a nice big oily, malty and orangey leaning IPA. I really like this one. This is one of these ones that just ticks the boxes for me, and as I always say, beer is subjective, so different people like different things, but this one does get a big thumbs up from me. I like this one. So yeah, let's try and break this down a little bit then. Straight away you can feel the nice kind of rye, bready, that sort of brown rye bready quality, that blankets the middle of your tongue. There's other malts in there as well, maybe some Munich malt or something like that, because there is a white bready element to this beer, I have to say too. And yeah, you can feel there is a mixture of that kind of brown bready quality and the kind of brown rye bready quality and the white bready quality just sitting on top of that as well. So there's a good mix kind of sitting on that on this one. But if you go to the very middle third of your palate, this one you can feel the whole, it's got quite a layered base to it, this beer. The rye bread is sitting there, the white bread is kind of sitting sort of on top of that. Then you've got a bit of the kind of sweet caramel in the very centre of your palate, and then as you go, it's almost got a kind of oily island in the very centre of your tongue. But yeah, there's a bit of a kind of oily island to this one as you go further out from that. But you've got a nice, you've got a very nice kind of biscuity quality that just moves further out from the centre of the palate there too, which is quite nice. So yeah, this one to me is quite an oily malt base, but the breadiness gives you a nice little bit of smoothness. You can feel the rye, the sort of more graininess of the rye bread pushing its way out a little bit later, but to me it's a very smooth and nice nice kind of straight up malt base. It's not the most complex of things, but I think the way the flavours blend together, it's just done really nicely actually. So thumbs up to both Three Weavers and Beerbliotek for this one. This is one that really just, it ticks the boxes for me, I have to say. I like this one. So yeah, if you go to the front corners of the palate, then move back a little bit, and you will get one or two little kind of woody undertones to the beer. But you've got that, you do have that nice little kind of just woody-ish quality to it, so that does come out a little bit further into the aftertaste, but you can feel the grainy notes just pushing their way out as well. If you go towards the back of the palate, you do get a bit more of a kind of graininess pushing its way out of this one. I mean, the back third of the tongue is mainly kind of grainy. It's more the rye qualities that come out there. There are a few other kind of grainy notes there as well, but you can feel the sweet caramel does push its way back a little bit, and you do get the kind of a bit more of the booziness going towards the back of the tongue as well. So I really like how that goes together. On the hoppy side of things then, in the back corners of the palate, you've got a nice little bit of earthiness there. But as you move kind of further forward along the sides of the tongue, you feel the earthiness does spread forward a little bit. You've got a nice little bit of floral aromaticity to this one. which I do like. Yeah, I do like how that sort of how that goes together. It does have a little bit of that almost dank quality to it, but as I say, this beer has nowhere near the IBUs that you would normally get from a West Coast IPA. But then as you go round the very kind of front curve of the palate, it's got a little bit of a lighter sort of grassy character to it as well. But then behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters start to push their way out the beer. And as I say, this one's got a really nice kind of fruity edge to it. And yeah, the fruitiness in this beer is really oily. So yeah, behind that front curve of the tongue, you get this big, just a big oil, kind of oily orange bubble. I wouldn't be surprised if this beer, there's maybe like, if you go to the back of that front third of the tongue, there's maybe a teeny little bit of a darker grapefruity kind of flavour to this one. This beer strikes me as being a very kind of old school West Coasty type recipe. Maybe it has a little bit of Simcoe or something in it. It's maybe got a little bit of that. It's maybe more of a passion fruit rather than a grapefruit, to be honest. It's not quite as dark and sour enough, I think, to be a grapefruit. So there could be a little bit of Simcoe in this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of the other hops in this beer is Amarillo, because as you move further forward on the palate here, you do get more of a kind of big oily orange character coming out of this one. And I said earlier that from the aroma I thought maybe there wasn't mosaic, but there's a few elements of the flavour. The earthiness, I think, the earthiness does get a wee bit stronger. There is something just giving me the vibe of mosaic in this one as well. So it could be Amarillo, mosaic and Simcoe, I think, that would be in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if there is Mandarin and Bavaria though, because there is a wee bit of that sort of nobly character to the grassiness that this beer has. There is just a little bit of a German nobly character to the grassiness there, so it could be something there. As I say, we're playing Guess the Hops, no idea whether I'm right or not. Could be talking a load of rubbish, but yeah, I think I've got a feeling Amarillo, maybe Simcoe, and maybe a bit of mosaic. I wouldn't be surprised. I might be wrong on one or two of them, but I think I do reckon there's a good chance that mosaic and Amarillo are in here, possibly Mandarin and Bavaria, maybe a little bit of Simcoe. But yeah, the orangey notes in this beer are just spot on, lovely and big and oily, and it builds a lovely bridge with the kind of rye qualities that the beer has and the sweet caramel on there as well. It's really nice just how everything fits together in this one. So the qualities that come out of this, the kind of fruity notes that come out of this beer are just awesome. But around the kind of front edge of the tongue, you can feel the influence of the orange peel. Whenever you add fruit into a beer, it always just suppresses a little bit of the IBUs, and you do get that around the kind of front edge of the tongue. But in fairness, you do get a little bit of that kind of citrusy, zesty quality coming out of this one, which is really nice, and that makes the beer feel quite fresh the further you go into the aftertaste. So you can feel some of the grainy notes pushing their way out, and you've also got that kind of citrusy, zesty thing, and some of the oily orange and sweet caramel sort of lingering in there as well. So I do like how this part of the beer goes together. The fruitiness in this is just really, really nice. So yeah, big thumbs up to all the breweries involved in this. This is an IPA that, for me at least, it just ticks all the boxes that I would want of an Imperial. So yeah, it's more, in terms of style, I would say this one's like one of the more kind of modern takes on the West Coast IPA. It's got the big oily malt base and the big oily fruits that you'd expect of a kind of West Coast IPA, but it just doesn't quite have the bitterness. It does have some of the dankness, in fairness, and I think it's fair to describe this beer as more of a West Coast IPA than a New England or anything. Definitely more West Coast. Just needs a little bit more bitterness, in my opinion. But yeah, let's talk about the mouthfeel then. So as I've kind of indicated, this beer is quite, it's definitely quite full-bodied. Carbonation's really smooth in this one. Lovely big oily mouthfeel to it. Like I said, definitely full bodied. I think no other way to really describe it other than big and oily, which is great. In terms of the hoppy bitterness, I think this one's maybe about 40, maybe 50 IBUs at a push. You do get a good little bit of bitterness out of this one on the side of the palate, but as I say, nowhere near the kind of 70, 80 IBUs that you would normally be accustomed to with this style. I think this one's sitting down, but maybe the citrus peel kind of takes a bit of that away, but I would say this beer's maybe around 50-ish IBUs. It's somewhere kind of around there. As I say, people are accustomed to a lower bitterness now. The malt base has a really nice kind of smoothness to it from the bready qualities, a little bit of an oily sweetness at the same time, and as I say, you've got a lovely big kind of oily, juicy, fruity character coming out of this one too. But yeah, this beer gets a big thumbs up from me. it really just ticks the boxes of what I would want in a West Coast IPA. A bit more bitterness, in fairness, I would say, with this one, but I've really liked this. I like the touch of the rye, the more breadiness that it gives you, and also the kind of sweet, oily caramel. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'd go as far as saying this is perhaps my favourite Beerbliotek beer that they've done in the IPA category so far. Yeah, maybe it is. I think, yeah, probably go for that. This is one that just ticks the boxes for me. But, you know, Eternal Dankness was great as well. They've had some other very, very good New England's IPAs. You know, these guys are very good when it comes to the style. Beerbliotek really know what they're doing, and Three Weavers, you know, are a well-respected brewery in Los Angeles these days, from what I gather. So yeah, hopefully I can review more of their stuff and give you my opinion on that as well. But yeah, really, really nice beer. This one. It's this is maybe my favourite IPA that I've had from Beerbliotek so far, just because it ticks the boxes for me. But yeah, as I always say, beer is subjective. You might have liked some of the other ones better, but Beerbliotek really know what they're doing in this category. And as I say, Three Weavers in America are very well respected too. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was There Is Still No Cure for the Common Birthday, number 284. From the Beerbliotek numbering system, one of the birthday beers that Beerbliotek have done this year for, I believe I can't remember, would it be their 6th? Yeah, their 6th birthday this time. But yeah, so really nice beer, this one. Glad, you know, very glad that we were able to review this for you here on the channel, and I look forward to seeing if there are any more of these come through Systembolaget. I would love to review some of the other ones that come out in this birthday series, because all three so far have been pretty damn good. But yeah, this one is There Is Still No Cure for the Common Birthday, number 284, from Beerbliotek in Gothenburg here in Sweden, and Three Weavers Brewing Company in Inglewood in Los Angeles, California, over on the West Coast in America. So yeah, thank you again for watching my beer reviews. A lovely 8% orangey, bready, West Coasty type IPA, this one. Check out my social media and things like that. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are, both from Beerbliotek and from Three Weavers Brewing Company. Thank you again for watching my reviews, and I will catch you guys very soon. An awesome beer this, and I do recommend that you check out Beerbliotek and check out Three Weavers. You will see more reviews from both of these guys in the near future on the channel. Slàinte, skål, cheers.